Looking at another one of our water examples, we have translucent water. This is very similar to our lake water where we have these rippling and still areas, but we can also see through it. We have translucency, and the nice thing is it gives us some depth where it blackens out near the bottom. We also have a shoreline, and we can see the items underneath the water. Looking at our shoreline here, rather than having a solid line where the water plane intersects the ground, it's a more smoother transition. And if we look at our shore depth option and we move it, you can see this is our hard transition, and our shore depth option basically determines how deep the shore is from the top of our surface and gives us that little bit of a fade effect. Once again, like our other waters, we are sort of cheating by using a blueprint to give us some values so we can determine where this item is in the real world. So when we click on it and move it, you can see we have a darker area at the bottom, which will change based on how high up my water is. Because this water plane is in a blueprint and it's using a height variable by determining how far down it should be, and using that to blend in along with our shore depth variable to determine how much of the shore depth should be used. And looking through our material, here's where we can find that code. Now let me zoom out all the way. You'll notice something familiar. This is the portion from our lake water where it does that little bit of random variation and noise. So this is nothing unique. We've already looked at that. These are the portions here that are going to be unique to our translucent water. The top portion of our map, or the beginning part of this material, is going to be our scene depth, pixel depth, world position of where everything is in the world, our camera, and that's how it's going to determine our depth. And that's all going to be fed in based on the water depth value, our shore depth value, and do some math to determine how much of that should be showing up. And then down here in the middle, we grab the scene texture, the base color, and that's how we can determine what is below our translucency. And that's how we get our effect of where we can see our meshes underneath the material. Now going back into our world and looking at a few of our other parameters, we get things like our shore depth. So again, that's determining how far away from the edge our shore itself actually appears. So it's faking a depth. We also have the depth scale, so how deep it is from our top point. And because we're in the blueprint, we can determine how far down this material is going to go. We can even change things like the color, so we can get like a more of a green look. Now this is kind of cool, but what else can we do with this? Well, we have access to the shore depth. So let's do something with the shore. I'm going to drag in this material that I've created. And now you can see along our shoreline, we have what appears to be a foam. We'll go ahead and look at it, and we have like a foamy layer hitting our edges. And that's based on our shore depth value itself. We can have a small amount of foam, or we can go out more deeper, more rough foam. And you can see it hits on anything that has an edge. And the nice thing is this is really simple to implement. Let's take a look at it. Here we have our base translucent water, and then we compare this to our foam water. And the primary difference is going to be our foam motion section here, which we've taken from our ocean water directly. And it outputs the value for our foam here. So this is our foam output. And all we're doing is lerping between the foam and the normal water based on the shore depth. So our output here, our lerp, this is how much of our shore depth we're going to show. We can see our original one here. We can see our output goes directly into our base color. Now when we look at our foam version, the only real difference, our input is the same, and it goes into our lerp. Our shore depth, or basically how much of that shore we want to see that's translucent, is going to be driving a lerp into the alpha, so how much of it is visible. And our A is going to be our foam, and our B is going to be the translucency itself. So depending on our depth determines how much foam we're going to see. So by utilizing existing information from this material, our shore depth, or how translucent we wanted our shore to appear, and then combining it with something else, our foam from our ocean material, we were able to create this really cool effect where we have this foam along the edges.